November 2nd, 1947, Long Beach, California. Before you stands an aircraft the size of a football field. Weight to 180 tons. Built entirely from wood. Cost -$23 million in taxpayer money. At the controls, billionaire Howard Hughes. A man the U.S. Senate calls a fraud. The press calls insane. He has one chance, one flight, to prove to everyone he didn't waste their money. This flight will last just 26 seconds. This is the story of the largest aircraft in history, about a failure that became a triumph. This is the story of the Spruce Goose. Let's go back to 1942, World War II at its peak. The Allies have a critical problem. German U-boats are sinking transport ships by the hundreds. In the first months of 1942 alone, over 500 ships went to the bottom. How to transport troops and equipment to Europe? The U.S. government announces a competition. They need a giant cargo aircraft, capable of carrying tanks, trucks, hundreds of soldiers across the Atlantic. And then Howard Hughes appears, 37 years old, billionaire, aviation pioneer, Hollywood mogul, eccentric to the core, a perfectionist obsessed with details. Hughes has already broken world speed records, flown around the globe, founded Hughes Aircraft Company. Now he's taking on the most ambitious project of his life. The project, it's the designation, HK-1, Hughes-Kaiser. The specifications sound insane. Wingspan -97.5 meters. Imagine, that's longer than a football field. Height to 24 meters. An 8-story building. 8 engines. Capacity -750 soldiers. Or 2 Sherman tanks. This is 5 times larger than any existing aircraft. But there's a huge problem. Aluminum, the primary material for aircraft, is needed for fighters and bombers. There's a critical shortage, and Hughes makes an incredible decision. Build a giant aircraft from wood. Not ordinary wood. Birch veneer, bonded with special resin. Innovative technology that no one had applied at such scale before. Contract signed. $18 million. Deadline, 2 years. Hughes promises to create what seems impossible, and construction begins. Months pass, years. Hughes is obsessed with the project. Every detail must be perfect. He personally checks every calculation. Doesn't sleep for days. Engineers work 7 days a week. The wing is so enormous that you can walk inside it at full height. The fuselage is the size of a train. Special roads are built to transport the parts. The scale of the project is unprecedented. But time passes. Money evaporates. 1947, the 2-year deadline expired. The aircraft isn't even half ready. 1945 May. The war in Europe has ended. August. Japan surrendered. World War II is over. The aircraft is no longer needed. The war ended before Hughes finished his project. But he can't stop. He's invested everything in this. His money, his reputation, his soul. Henry Kaiser, his partner, exits the project. Too expensive. Too long. Pointless. Hughes remains alone. The project is renamed H4, Hughes, Model 4. And then the nightmare begins. 1947, July, Washington. The U.S. Senate convenes hearings. Committee on the Investigation of National Defense. One question: did Howard Hughes waste 23 million taxpayer dollars? Hughes is accused of fraud, of incompetence, of wasting the war budget during wartime. The press attacks like a pack of wolves. Newspapers scream with headlines. Hughes Spruce Goose, a mockery, an insult. Though there's not a gram of spruce in the aircraft, only birch. Flying waste of money. Billionaire's wooden failure. 23 million down the drain. Senators demand answers. Mr. Hughes, Did you spend American money to create a wooden toy? A flying boat that will never fly? Hughes defends himself fiercely. His famous words, recorded on film, "I put the sweat of my life into this thing. If it fails, I'll probably leave this country and never come back." But it will not fail. The hearings end. Formally, Hughes isn't charged, but his reputation is destroyed. The press has annihilated him. There's only one way left to prove himself right: get the H-4 airborne. The problem is, the aircraft wasn't even designed for real flight. It's a ground effect vehicle meant to skim over water. Short hops, using an air cushion. Hughes never even planned to fly it. Just conduct water tests, show that the controls work, but now he has no choice. He needs flight. Real flight. November 2nd, 1947. Long Beach, California. Sunday morning. Beautiful weather. Thousands of people on the shore. Journalists, film, cameras, senators, critics, skeptics, the curious. Everyone came to watch the failure. The final humiliation of Howard Hughes. And there it is. Etched to 4 Hercules. Silver giant on the calm harbor water. Wingspan, almost 100 meters. If you stood it vertically, it would be as tall as a 30-story skyscraper. 8 massive engines, each with 3,000 horsepower. Howard Hughes boards. Sits at the controls himself. Beside him, co-pilot, mechanic, several engineers. Journalists also aboard. 36 people total. The plan is simple. Taxi on water. Check controls. That's it. No flight is planned. 10:30 a.m. Engines start. Deafening roar. 8 engines roaring simultaneously. H-4 begins its run on the water. Speed increases. Water sprays and fountains. First attempt. The aircraft doesn't lift, just rolls on the water like a giant boat. The crowd on shore murmurs disappointment. We knew it. Won't fly. Wooden toy. Hughes turns around, returns to starting position. On board, tension. Engineers exchange glances. Journalists start mocking. Already writing in notepads, Hughes' failure confirmed. Hughes is silent. Hands on the controls. Gaze focused. Jaw clenched. He makes a decision. Now or never. He'll get this giant airborne. Against everything. Against physics. Against the skeptics. Second run. Engines at full power. 24,000 horsepower, roaring simultaneously. The aircraft trembles with power. H-4 accelerates. Faster. Even faster. 80 kilometers per hour. 90, 100. 120. Water churns. Spray rises meters high. The noise is incredible. And suddenly, the aircraft shudders. The nose lifts. The entire body shakes. And oh my God, it lifts off the water. Screams from shore. Journalists drop their notepads. Cameras click like crazy. 180 tons of wood and metal are flying. 4 Hercules is airborne. Altitude, 21 meters. 7 stories of water. Speed to 120 kilometers per hour. Hughes grips the controls with an iron grip. Face impassive. But his eyes burn with triumph. The aircraft flies steady, stable. Controls work perfectly. 1 kilometer. 1.5. The wooden giant soars over water like an enormous, impossible bird. On board, silence. Everyone frozen. Engineers can't believe their eyes. Journalists in shock. Hughes proved it. The impossible became possible. And then he begins descent. Smoothly, carefully, masterfully. Water touchdown. Gentle, perfect. Engines gradually quiet. 20-6 seconds. 1 kilometer, 600 meters. 21 meters altitude. That's all. But it's enough. Howard Hughes proved to the world. H-4 Hercules flies. A crowd on shore erupts in applause. Even skeptics clap. Even critics can't hide their admiration. Hughes exits the aircraft, exhausted, worn out, but victorious. He proved himself right. He silenced all critics. Senators shamed. Press confused. The wooden giant flew. And it was triumph. But here's the irony of history. November 2nd, 1947, the only flight of H-4 Hercules. After that day, the aircraft never took to the skies again. Why? The war was over. The need had vanished. The jet age began. Propeller giants became instantly obsolete. Hughes ordered a huge climate-controlled hangar built, hired a crew of 300 people to maintain the aircraft in perfect condition. For 33 years, H-4 sat in that hangar, ready to fly, waiting for an order that would never come. Howard Hughes dies, alone, a recluse, but a legend. The aircraft is transferred to a museum, first in California, then to the Evergreen Aviation Museum in Oregon. It stands there to this day. And today, you can come and stand beneath its wing. Feel the scale. Sense the greatness. So was the Spruce Goose a failure? From a financial standpoint, absolutely. $23 million. One flight. 26 seconds. Commercial catastrophe. But was it a triumph of engineering? Absolutely. H-4 Hercules remains in the record books. The largest wooden aircraft ever built. The largest seaplane in aviation history. The largest wingspan of any aircraft, a record that stood for 73 years. Only broken by Stratolaunch in 2019. Technologies developed for H-4 were used in aviation for decades. Composite materials, bonding methods, aerodynamic solutions. Hughes proved to the world, size is not a limitation. Material is not destiny. Dreams are achievable if you're willing to risk everything. Spruce Goose isn't a story about failure. It's a story about a man who didn't give up when the whole world laughed at him. About an aircraft that shouldn't have flown by all laws of logic, but did. About 26 seconds that proved the impossible is possible if you have a dream and the obsession to achieve it. Howard Hughes risked everything: money, reputation, life. For 26 seconds, he won the aircraft. The whole world called a wooden joke. Became a legend of engineering genius. And today, when you stand beneath its enormous wing at the Oregon Museum and look up at this marvel of wood and metal, you understand one simple truth. This isn't a failure. This is a miracle. This is proof that human dreams can overcome any circumstances. This is the Spruce Goose, the wooden giant that flew for just 26 seconds. But those 26 seconds changed aviation history forever.